Hey everyone, Aproniano here. So, we've all sat through history classes, right? Memorizing dates, names, and events that always seem to blur together, but sometimes the most interesting stuff gets left out of the textbooks. We're talking about those weird, wacky, and downright unbelievable stories that make you question everything you thought you knew about the past. Get ready to have your mind blown, because today, we're diving deep into the vaults of history to uncover 10 mind-blowing historical facts you probably didn't learn in school. Okay, first up, let's talk about Napoleon Bonaparte. We all picture him as this tiny tyrant with a serious case of short man syndrome, right? Turns out that whole Napoleon was short thing, total myth. He was actually about 5'6" or 5'7", which was pretty average for a man in France back then. So where did this idea come from? Well, like any good historical rumor, we can probably blame the British. They started spreading rumors about his height as a way to make him seem less intimidating. It's kind of like the historical equivalent of calling your rival Little Timmy on the playground, except in this case, Little Timmy conquered most of Europe. Now picture ancient Egypt. You've got pyramids, pharaohs, and of course the legendary Cleopatra. She's an icon of Egyptian culture, right? Well, here's the twist. Cleopatra wasn't actually Egyptian, she was actually Greek. Cleopatra was a descendant of Ptolemy, one of Alexander the Great's generals. Cleopatra was the last of that dynasty, and she was actually the first Ptolemy to bother learning the Egyptian language. Alright, let's talk Vikings. Those fierce Scandinavian warriors who sailed the seas, raiding and pillaging. You know the image big burly dudes with horned helmets, right? Well, prepare to have those helmets blown right off your head, metaphorically of course. Vikings did not wear horned helmets. The whole horned helmet thing was a creation of costume designers in the 19th century, probably inspired by ancient Greek and Roman mythology. So, sorry to burst your bubble, but the next time you see a Viking with horns, just remember, that's Hollywood, not history. On to France, the land of love, baguettes, and a shape-shifting Eiffel Tower. Okay, maybe not shape-shifting, but the Eiffel Tower does have a neat trick up its iron latticework. The Eiffel Tower can actually grow taller in the summer. When metal gets hot, it expands, and when it cools down, it contracts. During a hot Parisian summer, the Eiffel Tower can grow by as much as 6 inches. It's not exactly a growth spurt, but it's still pretty cool to think about this iconic landmark literally changing size with the seasons. Now let's talk war. Usually when we think of wars, we think of long, drawn-out conflicts that last for years, even decades. But did you know there was a war that lasted just 38 minutes? It was the Anglo-Zanzibar War of 1896, and it holds the prestigious title of shortest war in history. It all started when the pro-British Sultan of Zanzibar died, and his cousin, Khalid bin Bargash, seized power. The British, being the British, weren't too happy about this, and promptly gave Khalid an ultimatum to surrender. The British bombarded the Sultan's palace for 38 minutes before Khalid decided he'd had enough and hightailed it out of there. Alright, time for a history lesson that might make your stomach churn. We're talking about ancient Roman hygiene, or lack thereof. The Romans were known for their impressive aqueducts and public baths, but when it came to oral hygiene, they had some interesting ideas. Believe it or not, ancient Romans used urine as mouthwash. Apparently they believed that urine, particularly aged urine, had antiseptic properties that could whiten teeth and freshen breath. Now I don't know about you, but I think I'll stick to toothpaste and mouthwash, thank you very much. The Dancing Plague of 1518. Let's journey to 1518 Strasbourg, where things are about to get weird, like really weird. Imagine this, hundreds of people, just dancing in the streets non-stop for days, even weeks. Not for fun, not for celebration, but as if possessed by some unknown force. This was the Dancing Plague of 1518, one of history's most bizarre and unexplained events. Theories abound, from mass hysteria to ergot poisoning, which is a fungus that can cause hallucinations, but no one knows for sure what caused this strange and tragic episode. George Washington's pearly whites weren't wood. Back to America for this one, and we're talking about the man himself, George Washington. Now, you've probably heard the stories about Washington's wooden teeth, but here's the truth. Washington never had wooden teeth. His dentures were actually much more high-tech, for the time anyway. They were made from ivory, gold, and even other human teeth. So, while the image of Washington chomping down on a piece of wood is pretty amusing, it's just not historically accurate. Hitler, the rejected artist. This one's a bit darker, but it's a fascinating glimpse into the life of one of history's most notorious figures, Adolf Hitler. Before he became the dictator of Nazi Germany, Hitler had aspirations of being an artist. He even applied to the Academy of Fine Arts in Vienna, twice, and was rejected both times. The Great Fire of London, not so deadly after all? And finally, let's end with a fiery bang. In 1666 London, the Great Fire of London, a massive blaze that consumed the city for days, destroying thousands of homes and businesses. It was a devastating event to be sure, but here's the surprising part. The official death toll was only 6 people. Now historians believe the actual number was probably higher, as many deaths likely went unrecorded, especially among the poor and marginalized. But even so, considering the scale of the fire, the death toll is surprisingly low. Outrow history, stranger than fiction. So there you have it, 10 mind-blowing historical facts that they probably didn't teach you in school. Which fact shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments below. And hey, if you enjoyed this trip down history's rabbit hole, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on more mind-blowing historical fun facts every week. Until next time, stay curious, my friends, and keep exploring the endlessly fascinating world of history.